Hey all, this is Dave, and today's big hairy idea is how to transform your excuses into action. So each of us has our excuses. We've all got reasons why we can fill in the sentence, it's harder for me because. So for me, I might say, well, I moved to Israel at age 29 where I really didn't speak the language. And even after quite a few years here, I'm still not perfectly fluent. I still work in English and I still mostly speak with other English speakers. So I'm still not fully comfortable. I can't really thrive the way someone who's natively born here might. So I might say, it's harder for me because I'm an immigrant. It's harder for me because I don't speak the language. Fill whatever the blanket has to be. You hear excuses all the time. It's harder for me because of my gender. It's harder for me because of my skin color. It's harder for me because of my age. It's harder for me because of my health. It's harder for me because, and we all have our reasons why it's harder for us. But so many times when we give those reasons, when we give that sentence, it's harder for me because, well, what are we looking for? Are we looking for sympathy? Are we looking for pity? Are we looking for others to kind of lower the bar, to have less criteria for evaluating us than they might have for somebody who doesn't have our excuse? Or are we looking to say that, you know what? I would rather accomplish my goals. I would rather live the life of my dreams despite my excuses rather than stay back and say, okay, I'm just not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to thrive because I've got this excuse. But sit back and say, but it's okay because it's harder for me because I am. So how do we transform those, it's harder for me because I am, into something that actually fuels us and gets us to actually take action? Because often when we say excuses, it actually does the opposite. It weakens our desire to do anything. And we've got a magic little formula, a nice little set of words that can transform this excuse. So it goes very easily, it's harder for me because I am blank, therefore I need to. And the therefore I need to could be, well, maybe therefore because it's harder for me, therefore maybe I need to work harder. Therefore maybe I need to find other tools, other strategies that other people haven't tapped into. Therefore, I need to figure out alternative ways of succeeding. Therefore, I need to climb this mountain and conquer this challenge so that I can teach other people in my exact circumstances how they can also thrive, how they can also overcome their excuses. When you take the words, therefore I need to, and put it at the end of your excuses of why it's harder for you, it takes your attitude of maybe self-pity, of this attitude that makes you kind of sit back and not want to engage, because that's what excuses do to us. They make us not want to engage, and it turns them into something that we can engage into. They can get us fueled. It can get us to doing something. Because an excuse is all about, it's kind of like I picture somebody having an excuse, if I'm to give it a mental image, sitting on the couch, lays back, oh, it's harder for me because I am. It's this weak type of energy. But when we add the words, therefore I need to, that has it's active energy. It's the type of energy that when I picture somebody saying, therefore I need to, I'm not picturing them sitting back on the couch, I'm picturing them standing up and facing their challenges head on. Going harder, going stronger, doing whatever it is that they need to do. I remember this one Tony Robbins video that I saw years ago that I thought was fascinating, where they had a guy who was in really bad shape and Tony was trying to help him transform and take ownership over his life. And he had this guy go running with a Marine who'd lost his leg. And the whole point was to say that, wow, if this guy who's only got one leg can go running, then certainly this guy who's got two healthy legs can also get himself to go and run. And it was this point of like, wow, Tony wanted this guy to be with somebody who had a bigger excuse than he did, to show him that this guy wasn't letting the excuses get in his way. It's harder for me because I only have one leg. Therefore, I need to work out even harder. I need to get a prosthetic. I need to teach myself how to walk again. I need to teach myself how to run again. Fill in the blank here. This guy did all of these things. And when this very obese, overweight, out of shape guy came to him and had to go running with him, suddenly whatever excuses he'd given before when he was on the couch of why it was so hard for him to get up and do anything, well, they just paled in comparison to what the one-legged guy had done. And he's like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. So there's something really strong about saying, therefore I need to. And I want to really encourage you, whenever you find yourself get into that excuse place, thinking, oh, it's harder for me because I am, and feeling yourself pulling back, feeling that weak energy that tells you you don't have to engage, it's okay, because you've got a really good excuse and therefore nobody can expect you to. See if you can add that terminology, therefore I need to, and find a way that despite all those difficulties. Note, I'm not saying that it isn't harder for you. Just like I'm not saying it wasn't harder for the one-legged guy to run than it was for somebody with 2 healthy legs. These excuses can be very real, but they're disempowering. Can we transform them? The next time you want to say that, can you find a therefore I need to, and fill in the blank with something you can do to, despite the fact that your excuse might be very real, to overcome it and hit your goal anyway?